Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Hello everyone. Welcome back to the PL-300 exam preparation series where we are exploring the third learning path, visualize and analyze the data. In this video, we are going to explore the topic format and configure visualizations, which is part of the section create reports. We are going to have a look at the various formatting options for the different visualizations, and these visuals are going to be the native visuals. So let's go to the Power BI desktop environment and see some of the formatting and configuration options related to the visualizations. So here I am inside the Power BI desktop environment, and I'm going to have a look at the different visualization options that we have. So first we are going to have a look at the bar and column chart. So there are 6 charts or 6 visuals within this category, and we can further divide this category into effectively 3 subcategories. So the first category is the clustered bar chart and the clustered column chart. So these are your simple bar charts. Then we have the second category, which is the stacked bar chart and stacked column chart. And the third category is the 100% stacked bar chart and the 100% stacked column chart. The only difference between the horizontal and vertical or the bar and column is the orientation of the bar. So here the bar chart means the horizontal orientation and the column chart means it is the vertical orientation. So let's start by having a look at the clustered bar chart first. So let me just pull in a blank clustered bar chart, and as soon as I pull it, I get a area where my bar chart will be populated, and then this is the area, the first area that we are going to have a look at, and this is the area which is required to build a visual. So anything which is required to build a visual, we are going to see that in this area. So that means in case of a bar chart, you would have values for the y-axis, you would have values for the x-axis, then the legend, then the small multiples and the tooltip area. So this is the area that is required for actually building a visual. So here I have pulled in 2 fields in the area. So the first field that I have pulled in is the y-axis. So I have pulled in my sales region. So remember, this is a horizontal bar chart or a clustered bar chart. So anything on the y-axis is going to be a categorical value. So I have pulled in one categorical value, which is the sales region, and the other axis, which is the x-axis in this case, is going to have a numerical value. So I have pulled in my DAX measure total cost into this area. So now let's first play around with these two options, the y-axis and x-axis, and see how the bar chart behaves if we add in more values into these areas. So the first thing that I have done is that I have pulled in another measure, which is total quantity, into the x-axis area, and you are going to see that as soon as I pull this, now instead of 1 bar I have 2 bars. So 1 bar is representing the total cost and 1 bar is representing the total quantity, and this area is your legends area. So what you can do is that in case of a simple horizontal bar chart, you can have more than one fields in the x-axis, and for every field that you are going to pull into here, which is going to be a numerical value, you are going to see a 1 bar added for each of the categorical values in the bar chart. Now I have done another thing, and in the same visualization I have pulled in the gender column from the customers table and put it on the y-axis below the sales region. So as soon as I do that, here is something that you were not seeing previously, and this is something that appears on the chart itself. So this is what we call as a hierarchy, and we are going to explore this in more detail once we are talking about drill up and drill down. So just remember that you can pull in more categorical columns in your y-axis, and we are going to this is going to create a hierarchy which we are going to explore in the drill up and drill down functionality video. I have now taken out the gender column from the y-axis, and now what I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to pull in this gender column and try to pull it into the legends field, but I cannot put anything in the legends field because I have already more than two measures inside my visual which are in my legends area. So in order to put anything in the legends area, I need to first take out the total quantity from here, and now I am going to pull in the gender into the legend area. And now let's see what is happening. So what is now happening is that it is again creating another bar, and now the total one single bar has been split into the bar for female and male. So now you can see that this is the bar for the female values and this bar is for the male values. So either you can have more than one numerical value in the x-axis, or you can have a categorical column in the legend, but you cannot have um, the categorical column in the legend once you have more than one fields or more than one measures in the x-axis. So this thing you need to keep in mind. So now let's go and see this small multiple area. So what I am doing right now is that I am trying to pull in my marital status and put this into the small multiple areas. So now what you are going to see is that if I just expand this, that this actually creates something different inside the visualization area, and that it is trying to break my existing visualization and is trying to further segregate into the marital status, which is married and single. But here you are seeing a 2 by 2 grid, which is the default setting or the default configuration for the small multiple. So what we can do is that if I just go and click on the formatting area, inside the formatting area you are going to find that there is this small multiple options here. So inside the small multiple you can see that this is the by default setting, which is 2 rows and 2 columns. So what I can do is that I can either change the rows to 1 or columns to 1. So now you are going to see this area that for the small multiples the graph is now further broken down into the married and single categories that we have put in the small multiple. So these are the four fields that are actually required to build any visualization, and this is the maximum thing that you can see inside a bar chart or a clustered bar chart that I have made right now. So the last area here is the tooltips area. So what is a tooltip? So if I just go inside my visualization and put my mouse on any of the bars, you are going to see four values here. So it says marital status, sales region, gender, and total cost. So these are the four fields that are there, which are already there required to build a visual. So anything that you put inside these four fields, you are going to see a tooltip that is automatically generated, and you are going to see that the bar will show the filtered value for all of this. If you want to pull in something else, if you want to add some more information, so let me just go and click on the data pane here and let me bring in some other measure. So let me just bring in total quantity. So I am going to pull in the total quantity and I'm going to put this total quantity here in the tooltip. So you do not see anything related to the total quantity here. But if you just now go and hover on a bar, so now you see that this total quantity is also appearing inside the tooltip. So any information that you just want to show in the tooltip and that information is not part of the four areas that are required to build a visual, you can put this in the tooltip as well. So this is how the information can be used in order to build a visual. So now let's go and see some of the formatting options related to this particular visualization. If we talk about the formatting of a visualization, the different areas of the visualization have different formatting. So this is the title area. There is this area on the very top. this is the area that has separate options for formatting. Then legend has separate options. Then your axis, the y-axis and the x-axis have different options for formatting. And finally, your bars have also different options for formatting. And last but not the least, your background has different options for formatting. So anything that is within the boundary of this visualization, you can go and format each of these areas as per your requirement. So a lot of this is similar for all the visuals. So I'm going to cover this primarily for this visual, and then I'm not going to go and repeat these for the rest of the visuals. We are just going to see what are the differences in the visuals, but this formatting part I'm just going to cover here. So let's go and just have a look at the formatting option. So for that, you just go and click on the format option here. You can even have the option to open both of these simultaneously. If you just press control and then click both of these areas, then you're going to see the data pane as well as the format pane. So now you have the build visual area here, the format area here, and the data area here. So all of these are available in the same view. So let's now explore this formatting area. So the first option that I'm going to look at is the properties option. So in the properties options, there are certain options related to the visual itself. And here there are four options. So the first one is the header icons. So the header icons here is turned to on. What are these header icons? So if I come to the visualization, these are your header icons. But even if I go and turn this off, you are still seeing these values. So the header icons property, and if I just expand it, you are going to see some of the options related to the coloring and some of the icons which are associated. And you're going to see a lot of icons here, but here I just see a few. This is because even if you turn it off, this option is valid for the Power BI service. So you are not going to see any impact here. This option is related to the icons that you are going to see in the Power BI service. So once we publish this report into the Power BI service, we are going to go there and have a look at what are the different header icons that we see in the Power BI service area. Then is the option for tooltips. So if you turn this option off here, then if I come here, then I'm not going to see any tooltip here. So we have a separate video on the tooltips where we are going to develop a custom tooltip, but just remember that you can set the property of the tooltip for any visual to either on or off. And if it is on, then you can either configure it for the putting values like we saw just now, or we can put a custom tooltip if we want to put it in, if you want to link a custom tooltip with this area. Next option that we see is the alt text. So this is the alternative text, and here it says enter a description that will be read by a screen reader on selecting the visual. So Power BI has a very good feature that it allows people with disabilities to interact with the visualization. So if you have a screen reader, which is a device that is used by people having issues accessing the reports on a normal PC, then you can have a description related to this particular visualization, and the screen reader will read the whatever you write in this area. So this, just keep this mind that this keep this thing in mind that this is something which is related to the accessibility options. And last, we have the advanced options where we have an option to the responsiveness. So you can either make this visual responsive, and here it says that the visual will adapt to size changes. So if there is a change in the screen size or the canvas size, then it is going to actually respond to that. So you can keep it on. And then there is an option to maintain the layer order. So there is a layer order associated with the visualization. So we are going to see that once we are looking at the bookmarks and something like that. So if you want to maintain that layer order, then you can turn that option to on here as well. So normally these properties are associated with the visualization and they have nothing to do with the visual level formatting. So now we are going to just come to the area where we have the visual level formatting, and the first option that we see here is size and style. So size and position actually represent what is the size of this visualization, and the position is actually representing these horizontal and vertical values. They represent the top left corner position on the screen. So remember, we have pixels that we talked about on the canvas. So this is telling about the position of the canvas. So this is your vertical axis and this is your horizontal axis. So if you move the visualization, you are going to see that the values for these are changing. Similarly, if you change the size of the visualization, these values for height and width, these can also change. You can even lock the aspect ratio if you want to just keep the aspect ratio constant, and then you can say, okay, I want to just lock this aspect ratio. This you can also do in this size and position option. Next option is the padding option. So if you see here, the visualization has a by default padding, which is shown here, that it is having 5 pixels on the left, a margin of 5 pixels on the right, and a margin of 5 pixels on the bottom, and 0 on the top. So if you want to just change this padding, so we have already seen this option in the Microsoft Office suite. So if you want to change some of this, you can change this. Then there is the option to actually have a background for the visual as well. So this option is very much similar to the option that we saw for the canvas. So if you want to put a dedicated image or a dedicated color in the background, so let me just change this to show you. So I would see that this is the color that appears in the background. Similarly, I can also for this, we don't have the option for the image, so we also have the conditional formatting, but we are going to have a separate look at the formatting. So this is the background of this image. Similarly, if you want to have a visual border, for the image, you can have that. And then obviously you also can have something related to the shadows. So if you want to on your canvas to have some kind of a shadowing effect, that like we see in the PowerPoint objects. So these two options are very much similar to that. So I'm not going to actually go there. You just go and see what is the impact of these options here. Next area is the title area. So the title area is basically the title that you see here on the top of the visualization, and you have seen that this title is generated automatically, but you have the option to put in a title of your own choice. You just type in whatever you want to put as the title in the text area here, and then you have the options to just go and format the text as you want. So you have the choice to select the font size, the appearance of the font, whether it should be bold, italic, underlined, the text color, even the background color for the area where you have the title. So you can actually just do go in this area and you can just change the options related to this. Then we have a subtitle area. So if I just turn it on, so you can see that there is an area just underneath the title, which is the subtitle. So this option came very recently, and now you can even want to, if you want to keep this option, you can go and put whatever you want, similar to the options that you saw for the title. So you can just come here and do all the stuff related to the formatting of the subtitle as well. Then we have this divider that divides the title and the subtitle from the rest of the image. So if you want to have this divider, and if you want to just have a line which is solid, which is dotted, which is dashed, so you can just come here and you can change the configuration of this area as well. You can even have the width of the line, the color of the line. You can do a lot of things. A lot of configurations are available here for this divider as well. So I have kept it as off for the time being. And then there is the spacing, that what level of spacing, this vertical spacing. So let me just change this. So you are seeing that this is creating more space between the title and the rest of the image. So you can just go and just go and change this. So if you want to change at any time, go back to the default values, you can just click here, reset to default, and the options for that particular area are going to be reset to the default settings. After the title, we have the y-axis, which is this area in our visualization. So in the y-axis, you have two areas. One is the y-axis, which is the title of the y-axis, and then this is your y-axis. So here, if you come, we have an area which is the related to the value. So values are the values on your y-axis. So these are your values. So if I just go and increase the font, you are going to see the impact here on the font. So similarly, you can go and change the color. You can change the way these the font appears as a bold, italic, underline. So this is related to the values. And then the other area is the title area, which is related to the title. So this is your title. So you can again choose your own title text. So currently it will just put whatever is there in the y-axis option here, but you can just choose your own text. Then you can change the style, the font, the color, everything related to the title. You can go and you can change in this particular area. Similarly, if I come on the x-axis, I'm going to find the same two options which are for the values and for the title. But there is a slight difference because this is a clustered bar chart. So you are going to have the numerical value on the x-axis. So here you have a range for the for what values you want to display on the x-axis. So primarily this is set to auto, but you can come here and give any value that you want for the axis. You can even go and you can change the scale from a linear scale to a logarithmic scale. So if you want to have a logarithmic scale, you can choose that. If you want to change, invert the range, then you can even go and invert the range, and the visualization is going to show the bars in the opposite direction. Then even if you want to have a shared or a combined x-axis, so let me just turn it off. So here it is now not sharing, but if I just turn it on, so it says that okay, the x-axis is kind of independent. So this, just have a look at this option, that what this option is actually doing in different scenarios. So all of these options are related to your scaling of the axis, sorry, to the axis of your bar chart. And this is different from the y-axis because here we have a numerical value. The rest of the values are the values and title, which are very much similar to what we saw for the y-axis. Next, we have the area for the legend. So legend is, we have already seen, so this is the legend. So here again, you have the option to select where you want to position the legend. Then what should be the font, on what should be the appearance of the text inside the legend. And similarly, if you want to keep the title of the legend, which is gender. So if you want to have the title, then you can even switch it off, and then you can also put whatever text you want to put in this area. So a lot of flexibility in terms of the options in all of this area. Similarly, grid lines, we have already seen that how the grid lines, sorry, not the grid lines, we have already seen the small multiples. So small multiples, I've already shown you that how you can split the area into a grid. So you can just come here and choose. Similarly, you can choose the padding. So padding is actually, it increases the distance between these areas. So you can come here and choose the padding option, and as well. Then there is the border, title, and background. So you can have separate backgrounds for your so you can change the background for the small multiple areas as well. Then we have the grid lines. So the grid lines are these lines which probably are not very much visible here. So here, if you see that there are certain dotted lines inside the area, so you can come and you can change the grid lines. You can even turn it off. You can even have grid lines for the horizontal and the vertical axis. So totally configurable, this grid line area as well. Last but not the least, the two important options are related to the bars. So these are my bars. So I can come here, I can change the color of these bars. So let me change the color of the male thing to a lemon green color. And if similarly, I can change the spacing between the bars, the inner padding, as well as the width of this area. So you can just go and play around with the bars as well. And then there is an option for data label. So if I just click this as on, you are going to see that there are labels associated with each of my bars, and I can then go and then change the format of this labeling as well. So the formatting that is available is that it should apply to the whole series, or you want to just keep it for the for one of these. So a lot of configuration options that you see here are available for all the areas here. Similarly, the positioning, similarly the value, what should be the font, what should be the font size. All of this is related to the data labels as well. Next, we have the plot area background. So remember, we had the option to change the color, but now here, if I want to browse for an image, I can put an image in the background as well. So this option is different from the option where we saw for the color. And then we are going to have a look at these reference lines and error bars in a separate video, where we are having a look at the analytics options which are available for different visualizations. So this was probably a very long video, but the point was that I wanted to show all the different options which are available, and more or less these options are available for most of the visuals. Some of the options might be a bit different in certain visuals. For example, these options could be different in a map visual. These options could be different inside us, maybe a scatter plot. So we are now just going to focus on those options which are a little bit different, and we are not going to explore rest of the options in the next part of this particular video. So in the next parts, we are going to have a detailed look at some of the other options available for the bar charts, and then similarly we are going to have a look for all the other visualizations. So that's all for this particular video, and I'll see you in the next one.